What's going on, guys? G2 here. Welcome back to the bench. And today we are going to be talking about and showing you what it means to stake your castle nut. Now, I've referred to this numerous times in previous videos, and a lot of your off-the-shelf ARs may come staked, they may not come staked. Your 80% and your builds are 100% not staked. And what that means is, if we're looking here at a staked version, our castle nut is, as we all know, but just in case anyone is new, our castle nut is this nut that goes to the back of our buffer tube, and it attaches our buffer tube to our upper receiver. Now, in between that, you will have a plate, sling plate, end plate, whatever you call it. There is a plate that goes there, and that plate, whether you can attach a sling to it, some of them have single slings, some of them have double slings, some of them have QDs, some of them have nothing. So it doesn't matter what you've got, the process is exactly the same. As you're tightening up this castle nut, you torque it to 40 foot-pounds, right? And most people just say that's good. And MilSpec says it's good, but MilSpec also says that it needs to be staked. And what that means is, if we look at this one right here, right on our castle nut, you'll see you have your big grooves and you'll have these little small grooves. Now those small grooves, let's see if I can get one that's open right there. But these small grooves, again, by design, are made for you to stake. Now what you do is, your end plate is right here. You're going to get a punch, and you're going to punch right where that little groove is, and you'll see that that groove will actually push the metal, or that punch will push the metal into that groove, creating a lock on your castle nut so it can't back out. Without this, your castle nut is free to roam. Chances are it probably won't happen, but if you don't torque it correctly, it will back out. A lot of people will say staking is permanent. It is 100% not. All it takes is a little extra muscle, using your armor's wrench. When you're taking this off, you're just going to have to put a little extra beef into it, and I promise you it will crack that sling plate, the attachment. Now, the downside to this is, once you've done that, once you've broken the seal, the sling plate is pretty much rendered useless, because you can't go back and restake the same sling plate, because 90%, well, pretty much every time you go to tighten this back up, those two spots should align, assuming you're torquing everything correctly and you torqued it all correctly to begin with. So, sling plate is trash at that point. You can save them. I would not. Typically, when you're staking, it's all going to be in this general area right here. That's kind of where your notch will come up to. So, yeah, that's going to be it for that sling plate. But luckily for you, they're cheap. They're relatively easy to find. And I think that in terms of safety, it's worth the $8 or $9 to get yourself a new sling plate. So let's show you how to do it. Okay, so here we go. We have our AR here. Now you'll see, get out of the way, our notch is right here, but we have not staked this. We know it's torqued to 40, because when we put in the threaded rear takedown, we torqued this to 30. If you haven't seen 40, excuse me. If you haven't seen that video, check right here. I'll link it and also put it at the end. So first thing we want to do is we want to take the upper off from the lower. Just makes this whole process easier. So here we are. Here's our notch. So what we're going to do is we're going to start our punch right here. Now, to use that, there's actually a very easy tool. It's one of these spring assisted punches. You can get these at Harbor Freight for $4 or $5. And practicing on my hammer, essentially what you do is, as it presses down, it'll click, and that click will give you, you can see right there, a little starting hole. Now what you can do is continue to go on that hole, and it will increase the diameter of that punch hole. Obviously this is hardened steel, so it's not going to get as big as quick, but these sling plates are typically 60-61 aluminum. They're pretty soft, and you can punch these out pretty quick. So let's head over to the vise and I'll show you how we do it. Okay, so here we are, and you can see here's our notch right here. All right, and that's our back plate. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get our punch. We're gonna set it up just to the edge, but centered with our castle nut notch, and we're gonna give it a, you can see right there. We're just gonna continue with this. Pressure is going straight down at this point, so vertical pressure. Now after about a dozen punches, you'll see we've actually got a bulge here that's started to form. That's not your screen. That's actually starting to move that metal into. So you can go a couple more times. Now what we want to do is we want to angle so that we're kind of pushing into that notch. Until you've got it filled, and you'll know because it'll slowly fill in. Now once you're done, go ahead and give it a little run over, see if you feel any edges. If you do, just get a little file and you can just kind of gently file off any burrs that you may have. Again, this is aluminum, so it's pretty soft. I'll just clean that out. And guys, that's it. We have a properly staked castle nut. Let's go back to the bench. I'll show you what it looks like. And we're back. So a little tip when you're working with one of these punches. They have a tendency to kind of screw out on themselves. Now, this one's fairly new. There's actually two screw points. This one here houses the spring. This one here is, I guess, the interior spring portion of it. Now, I would suggest you throw some Loctite on this just so it doesn't back out. I forgot to do it. And I'd notice every once in a while I'd feel it a little loose here. So throw a little Loctite on it. It'll be fine. These are cheap, you know, $4 or $5 at Harbor Freight. I mean, if it breaks, just chuck it and get yourself a new one. But this is all you need. And you'll end up with something like that. And you can see that is fully seated inside of that notch. Just to give you a better example, I'm going to color in around this. So I filled that in with the Sharpie, and I think it kind of shows a little bit better what we're talking about here. Now obviously that Sharpie is going to be gone, so if this bothers you, this metal, I would get some enamel paint and maybe just dab it on there. But I mean, you can try to be fancy with a Sharpie, but really, who cares? No one cares. And the minute you go and you clean this thing, all that stuff's going to be long gone anyway. So if it really bothers you that much, get some enamel, black enamel paint, dab it on there, and you'll be good. So ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for today, just to show you how to properly stake your castle nut using a punch, a spring actuated punch. And that's all it takes. And now you know, you have that peace of mind that your castle nut will not back out on you ever. And if you decide you want to change, a little bit of muscle will crack that mechanical bond, no problem. You will, however, need to replace your back plate But that's about it. So guys, until next time, make sure that you're practicing safe weapons handling at all times and treating every weapon as if it was loaded. God bless America. G2 out.